session 2 of IDTX 2023. This time with me is Anna. You can probably guess from her background what company she's from. Uh, but Anna is going to run, I think, what's going to be a really interesting session for us. I got a sneak preview of the slides a couple of days ago, which was very exciting and put some of my recent work to shame, to be honest. So I'm not going to waste too much time. One thing I will just say, following a little bit of feedback from people in the comments, I have added the join links to the sessions not being run on the stage to their description on the very top line, so they'll be easier to find if you want to attend any of those events. However, without any further ado, I am going to hand over to Anna. The stage is yours.
Okay, awesome. So give me just a moment. Up. I will set everything up on my side. Okay. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to our crash course. So um, let me quickly share my screen. Okay. Okay, and please let me know if you can see it. Okay, so can you see it right now?
Yep, that's working brilliantly.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so hello everyone once again. Welcome to our e-course crash test session. So first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Anna. I'm a senior course developer at iSpring Academy, and our academy is a part of iSpring Solutions that helps our customers to have great e-learning experience. We provide ready-made courses for different topics and build tailored courses for specific needs. Also, iSpring Academy has a great video course for instructional designers to help them master every stage of course development. Okay, so this is me. And during this session together, we will learn the basic design rules that will improve the quality of your courses. And I encourage you to stay till the very end of the session to get our free collection of interactive guides, checklists, and tips on instructional design and e-learning to streamline your course authoring. So, how will our work be structured? We will have 5 courses today, which was sent by our customers. And let me thank them for that. And first of all, I will show you the original course. Then we will see how the same course will look with some small changes. So how the small changes can improve the design and improve the whole picture for our learners. So let's begin with our first course. Okay, so here we go. This course is a fire safety course. And I love the fact that the color psychology is considered here, and the color scheme complies perfectly with the topic. The red and orange colors evoke a sense of anxiety and draw attention to an important subject. However, it is good to remember that red is the most exciting color of the spectrum, so it is better not to use it in the courses where, on the contrary, you need to produce a feeling of confidence and calmness. For example, this color no longer will be appropriate in course devoted to emotional intelligence. For this course, I would also recommend changing the content position. At present, it's razor spaced out on the slide, leading to very little free space left. It is difficult for our brain to acquire information like that because there's a lot of data. So my advice, at least 20% of the slide should be left blank. To do this, you can increase the space from the slide edges to the text and slightly reduce the font size. So let's see how this can be avoided, how we can avoid this kind of cognitive load for our learners. Okay, so here we go. We arrange the content differently and add more space to the slide. So now it can breathe. Moreover, there was no title slide in the original course. That's why we've added it. Let me note what is essential for the course to have a cover page, since this helps our learner to better understand what to expect from the course, right? And it will be great if you also can add some additional information, such as course duration, availability of audio or video files, so users will know what they need to have a headset or headphones to be able to view the course. And you can also add the complexity level to this slide too. So these details will help your learners to prepare for the study of materials better. Another important component is the course player. So you can add some different buttons and navigation buttons to your course, but you need to make sure that there will be only buttons that are necessary for learners to to take this course. So, for example, here we have the iSpring the iSpring player, and there we have only the back and next buttons. So this is why that is really just all the necessary for the learner to have. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So here we need to compare two slides. So slide on the left is before and the slide on the right is after. So to rearrange slide content, we've used a great approach called visual hierarchy. So this method, initially based on the Gestalt psychological theory, that compares the user's visual perception of elements in relation to each other and demonstrates how people tend to combine the visual elements into several groups. So the visual hierarchy method is aimed at presenting the content so that the brain could distinguish the items of the slide on the basis of their differences, such as size, color, contrast, and style. For example, on the right, the title has more weight than the main text due to the differences in font size and style. So, what do you think about those changes? Is there anything else that you would like to change in this course, in this slide? Please share your opinion in the chat. So we will be very, very eager to hear about it. So how do you like these changes? Or maybe you can do better. So the more ideas we have, the better in this case, I believe. Okay. So don't be shy. Be, be eager to hear about this. Okay, okay, I see. Thumbs up. Awesome. So it seems that you like it. Awesome. Okay. Okay, and while you leave in your comments, um, I will let's compare two more slides from the same course. Okay, so here on the left, information is provided on four separate slides. So we have presented the same information using interactions in our authoring tool called iSpring Suite. So firstly, it saves a lot of time since this kind of interactions can be created with iSpring Suite in just a couple of minutes. Secondly, this way of presenting information is more engaging for our learner. So, moreover, the students get the feeling that they're studying the information in a batch-wise manner on one slide. It's definitely easier for our brain than a separate examination of four slides. Okay, okay, let's take a look at the comments. Okay, so Mandy says that it's a big improvement. Bruce has clear how much text should be on each slide. So, as per this question, if you don't mind, I will answer it on the road right here. So, um, I just would like to suggest that your slide should breathe. So it's absolutely up to you. So you can just add point um, key points on the slide and add, let's say, audio or video narration. So these points will be explained. Or if you need to have a lot of information, like maybe doubled like this, I will recommend that you just divide it in separate slides, because in my case it was um, the most important rule, which actually helped me a lot when I just started like several years ago, is that one slide per one key point. Okay, so help us answer the question. So Alexandra said, changes are good, but I would also try to shorten the text a bit. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comment. Yes, you absolutely can do that. I believe that it's very good point. So Kuba said that there's still too much text. Okay, so yeah, that's maybe sometimes, but it's absolutely up to you. If you want to make it shorter, you can definitely do that. Um, Andreas said summary writing can make some of the sentences smaller. Absolutely. That's the brilliant idea, because you can rewrite something and you will have a long sentence, but you can make it shorter just in a couple of moments. Okay, and Elizabeth said bullet points color was a bit distracting, which is a less saturated red. Sure, awesome. That's a great point. Thank you so much for your ideas. I believe that it's pretty good one. So thank you so much for being so active. And I believe that we can get on to our next slide of my presentation. So now let's recap the advice from course number 1. So first of all, consider color psychology. So you need to remember that color is an important design tool, and this is help you can attract the attention of the student, convey the necessary emotions, or evoke associations. Um, Leave at least 20% of the slide blank, not to overwhelm your users with lots of data on one slide. Also, it is important to add a title slide to a course, because it helps our learners to better understand what to expect from the learning material, right? Um, the next one is that course player is another important thing, since it helps the learners to navigate through the course. And I need to present the content on the slide following the visual hierarchy, so that the learners could determine the level of importance for each element. Okay, so give me just 1 second. Okay, and here we go. Okay, sorry, a little technical thing that we have here. Okay, awesome. We will continue now. Okay, so Um, if you have a lot of information, including diagrams and charts in your course, I recommend that you take a closer look at the interactions. So, in iSpring, we have 14 interaction templates for a variety of learning situations. This can be used to visualize information and engage employees in the learning process. For example, interactions can help you to illustrate the stages of product development, transaction cycles, or the history of your company. So interactions are basically templates. You just need to fill in with your information, add some audio, video, text, and that's actually it. So your learners can navigate using the interaction, like using the diagram itself, or by using the next and previous buttons. Okay, let's go ahead. And in addition to graphs and charts, any theoretical information can be placed in the interaction. Let's look at the example from the diversity and inclusion course. So here we've packed information into the labeled graphic interaction type and added the cover of its interaction. Okay, and one more advantage of content created with iSpring Suite is that it's also adjusted to every um, device which you're using for viewing the course. So let's say this is how the same interaction from our previous slide looks on the mobile devices. So you can navigate through the interaction the same as it was on the desktop, or by using the navigation buttons, the next and back buttons. Okay, that's it. Now let's move on to our next course. So it's great, but some offers are using slide templates. For example, here we have the template from the iSpring content library, and those templates help you quickly present your content without wasting time, maybe sometimes on the design. Then you need to create course from the scratch and for a very, very short time. However, when you using templates, we recommend that you use um, templates from one collection, so there will not be a clutter of styles, right? So after all, each template has its own set of the fonts and its own color scheme. And in the training course, it is important to ensure that we have no more than two fonts and the color palette is consistent from the very first to the very last slide. So it's time to look how we tuned up this course. So let's see. Okay, so you can see my personal favorite trick here. So we replace a stock image with a video file for the title slide. A video which is used as a background is a great way to gain attention as it makes the slide more dynamic. However, please be careful with that because you need to show videos as backgrounds only for title slides, so not the slides which has a lot of information to do not distract the users. Okay, now let's compare two slides from our second course. We can see small white figures on the left from the original course. Such stock images I consider it kind of outdated right now, so we highly recommend to avoid using them in your courses. Instead, you can replace them with more realistic pictures, um, which you can see on the right. We also added icons to make the text more readable. You can see you can use built-in bullet options for listing, or you can download different icons. For example, from the iSpring content library, you can recolor them if necessary and make them bigger or make them smaller if you want to.
Sorry, Anna, we're having some issue with your slides. They appear to be stuck on advice from course one.
Okay. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Give me just a moment. Let me stop sharing and I will just quickly share my screen once again. Okay.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
This is
Thank you
just
for.
proof that this is all live, see? If it's pre-recorded, you wouldn't get stuff like this.
Okay. Okay, so here we go. So is everything working right now?
Perfect. We see iSpring Suite interactions now, is that right?
Awesome. Yes. So let me quickly
Super.
like say everything once again, but just comprehending my presentation. Okay. I will just quickly show you that show it once again. We will not do the same all long stuff, but so this is about the information. This is about the interactions. So if you have information that includes diagrams and charts in your course, you can use iSpring interactions. So there are 14 interaction templates for the variety of learning situations in iSpring Suite. So you can use those interactions to visualize information and engage your employees and your learners even more because they can interact with interactions for sure. They can click directly on the diagram to read its description, or they can use the previous and next buttons. So in this case, they can um, use an interaction in a specific order, or they can just follow their own pace and select which option they would like to see first. So this is these was the kind of universal interactions, and this one is more specific. This one is called labeled graphic, and this is here you can see how exactly you can um, share your creativity and add some interactive, interesting options to your course. This interaction is called labeled graphic. Okay, and what is advantage of creating content in iSpring Suite? So when you use interactions, and then you create courses using iSpring, you can see how they will work on mobile devices. So here we can see, okay, um, so this is how the same interaction from the previous slide works on the mobile devices. So here you can use the interaction buttons, or you can use the back and next button, the next and back buttons to navigate through your interaction. Okay, so now it's time to go to our second course. Okay, so um, as you can see, here's some templates I used. So for example, this template from the iSpring content library. Um, Slide templates allow you quickly present your content without wasting some time on design issues, because you just insert a template into your course and just edit it as you want it. However, we strongly recommend that you use only one template in a course, so or slides from one collection. So this will allow you to avoid any issues with the mix of styles. So users will be sure that they're still in one course and not like moving between several courses. And after all, each template has its own fonts and its own color scheme. And and in the training course, it's really important to make sure that you don't have more than two fonts, and that the color palette is the same from the very beginning to the very end of your course, right? Okay, so this is course before. And here we have the result of how we tuned up this course. So you can see my personal favorite trick here. We replace the stock image with the video file for the title slide. A video that is used as background is a great way to gain attention, as it makes the slides more dynamic. However, I do not recommend to use this trick for the slides where you have a lot of information, because it will distract the users from actually learning the material. Okay, now let's compare two slides from our second course. So we can see small white figures on the left slide from the original course, and such stock images are considered to be kind of outdated. So we highly recommend them, um, recommend to avoid them for sure. Avoid them and replace them with some more realistic photo. So you can see it on the right. We also added icons to make the text more readable. And here we used iSpring Content Library, so with different icons, or you can just use any icon from any web resource you prefer, but just make sure that you can recolor and resize them. Okay, now let's see advice from course number 2. So use templates on of one slide style in the course to avoid clutter of styles. And it's better not to use more than two fonts in a course to save the harmonious look. Make sure the color palette is consistent through the whole course. Don't use the outdated stock images. And remember that each image or any other element on the slide has to convey a meaning. Use icons for listing things to make the text more readable. Okay, now let's go ahead to our next course. So I would like to point out one more time that adding a title slide is essential to let users quickly understand what this course is about. In this course, I would recommend changing the slide size from 4 to 3 to a widescreen format, which is 16 to 9, to take the course comfortably using any device, including smartphones. Let's see how this slide can be transformed. So here we've used a widescreen format. We've also changed the background and taken an image from the unsplash.com website. So there are a lot of stock services where you can find a picture for any course. This is just one of my favorite services. But you need to be careful because not all stock images are good to use. When you're looking for an images, I recommend starting with the color palette of your course. For example, this lilac and blue image goes well with other accent colors, which are blue and red. And before we go on, I would like to ask you if you take images and photos for your courses at some websites, or you just use your own photo collection or your company's photo collection. If you take materials from open sources, what is your favorite website to look for them? Okay, so as I said before, I will go first. As I said before, from time to time, I go to unsplash.com to search for some quality images. And also, if I need a character icon or background, I can use iSpring or other services that I would prefer. Okay, let me know what is your favorite one. Okay, if you don't mind, I will just quickly have some water. Okay. Okay, Thomas, a big fan of innovative elements. Awesome. I will write it down for me too. And we will use it too. Okay. Okay, so I believe that we can move on, but if you still want to share some services that you use on, let us know. Okay. Now, let's talk about slide formats in more detail. So, use a widescreen format, also called 16 to 9, for your PowerPoint slides. Avoid using the 4 to 3 slide format since it's kind of outdated format because that was used for displaying presentation with a projector. And it is better not to use that for a training course because a lot of courses I taken right now on mobile devices and this format is not very um, convenient to take the course and view it there. Um, Also, widescreen format, which is 16 to 9, will expand the screen boundaries of the slide and let you have more space for your text, photos, for graphics, and all the things that you would like to add. Remember that at least 20% of the slide should be left blank so that learners comprehend the information better. So let's not limit our workspace this as a format 4 to 3, right? Okay, now let's continue with the next slide of this course. So this slide shows a quiz. However, unfortunately, it's not possible to click on the answer. This is just a text. You will not be able to get a feedback. And the correct answers are shown on are shown on the next slide. And you will need to set up additional hyperlinks and animations to set feedback messages to show the results for your learners. So how we can change the slide, and for sure we added, so the this is how the result slide looks in this course. So here we just turned that static quiz to an interactive one. And we used iSpring to do that. So because right now the student can review the wording of the question and the answers, click on the options that are correct in their opinion, and get a feedback. This format engages the person more as the learner is no longer just a pos- passive observer, but he or she can actively participate in the educational process. And for sure, you can add your own feedback messages here, so users will have like a feeling that they're like a teacher or a mentor who give all this feedback for the learner. Okay, let's move on. So here is the next slide from the original course. I would like to note that the style is well maintained, so no more than two accent colors are used in this course, and we have illustrations from the same collection. Let's take a closer look at the hierarchy here. So here we see what the title text and the text of the examples have different font sizes and font thickness, and this is great. But it's still very important to make the heading the most significant element of your slide, right? So that it will immediately attract users' attention. Here we have two subheadings: corruption and integrity. Compete with the leading for attention since their font size is larger than the main heading font. Corruption versus integrity. So let me show you how we changed this slide. So they changed the hidden font size to 32 points and subheadings font size to 28 points. The explanation under the hidden was made less attractive since it's clear from the design, right? From the hidden, but we will comparing corruption and integrity. Instead of illustrations, we added icons. And because icons are easier to work with as they can be recolored and resized without losing any quality. Okay, so what do you think about those changes? Do you like them, or you can still do it better? I believe it's the second option. You can do it even better, but let me know what you think about this one right now. Okay, and while we waiting for the answers, I see what you shared some services. That's awesome. So Elizabeth has Dell E2, Stable Diffusion. Okay, April said about Pexels.com. Okay, Andy shared a bunch of everything in Vaudo is awesome, and for free Pexels and Splash and free pick. Okay, okay, Kara said 16 to 9 for the win. That's true. That's true. Okay, so Rena said that that's cool. I believe that this is about the changes that they made. Awesome. Great that you love it. Okay, so let's go to the next option. So,
Just before you carry on, Anna, we actually have a question that came in on the Q&A at that point, which was, will the interactive elements and responsiveness you've been talking about work when a course is loaded into Moodle?
yes, it will definitely work there.
Fantastic, thank you.
Okay, so here we don't have like this static slide which we had on the previous slide because we turned the red and blue boxes into buttons. We just click on the one beneath and get a portion of the information. So This can be done by duplicating slides and setting up hyperlinks between them, or you can set up everything on one slide just by using triggers and animations. So such techniques involves users in learning a lot. Okay, so let's go to our next portion of devices. So we recommend select widescreen format, which is 16 to 9 for slides. It will expand the screen boundaries to give you more space on the slide. And courses in this format are more convenient to take on a smartphone. Choose images watching this course color scheme to save a harmonious look. Turn static tasks into interactive ones to engage learners more. Attracts users' attention to the title by making it most significant element of the slide. Using animations and triggers on slides involve users in learning a lot, but do not overuse them because a lot of triggers and animations can irritate learners after a few slides. And balance is a key here, right? Now I believe that can go to the next course. So here too, I would suggest turning to the iSpring interactions, and because it has like a lot of theoretical material consisting on different text, pictures, diagrams, and charts. So when you add several schemes or pictures to your one slide, you get an overload effect. And it's hard to understand where to look and in which order, right? And therefore, interaction is very helpful because all of this information can be divided into portions. And one more thing here is that right now, black text on a gray background is not good enough because there's no enough contrast. So let's see how we updated this course. So, in addition to adding interaction, we rebuilt the title slide to make it look more modern. We left only blue, white, and black colors as accent colors, and we removed the gray background. And the problem of lack of contrast was solved immediately. Now the text can be read better. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. So on the left, we can see the slide before, and on the right, there's a slide after our transformations. So the first thing we did when rebuilding this slide was to place the header closer to the. So see, in this picture on the left, there's the same distance between the circles, which is why they're perceived as one large semantic group. In the picture on the right, three groups of objects are already formed because we have increased the distance between them. Consequently, the farther the objects are from each other, the less connection is between them, and vice versa. The closer the objects are to each other, the more connected they are by meaning. So the same principle works in the text. Equal spacing between the heading and the previous paragraph will confuse the learner. He or she will not understand what is what. Therefore, try to place the title closer to the paragraph to which it refers, as shown as the example on the screen on the right. So it will make much more sense for your learner. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So on the left slide, the header is too far away from the text, which should essentially form one semantic group. So the proximity rule is violated on this slide. On the right slide, the proximity rule is followed. Another advantage of this layout is that the picture doesn't cut our slide into two parts. So being on the right, it complements the text. On similar slides where you have both the picture and the text, I recommend placing the text on the left if the text is the main object. And if it's more important to show a picture, you should put it on the left. And you might ask, why so, right? It is about the order in which we read the information. So, research shows that most of us study the information at the upper left point and look at the content in the Z direction until the information is read. That is, the starting point is always in the upper left corner. Therefore, it's important to place a key element of the slide here. But do not forget about the cultural and background differences of our learners. For example, this left right concept most likely won't work for Arab cultures since their language is based on the right to left concept. So, this is why you need to do it vice versa than you do it from some Arabic cultures. You need to consider this too. Okay, so let's go to devices. So here we use interaction to divide information into several portions for better understanding the material. Make text readable by using contrast colors to text and background. Follow the proximity rule. Place the main objects on the left and closer to the top, for example, a header. Remember about cultural and background differences of your learners. Now it's time to move on to the next course. So, um, he- I would like to note that here the unity of style is kept from the very first slide to the last one. The same colors, fonts, and illustrations from the same collection I used. But as with the previously viewed courses, there's a great lack of involvement in learning. So this can be improved by different ways. But we will again turn to the technically simplest one right now, to iSpring interactions. And let me show you what we've got here. So we've created a glossary of terms because it's much easier to learn them one by one. And with the search field and the list on the left, you can quickly find the term you need. Furthermore, we decided to supplement the theoretical information with a practical task. So this task is designed more to engage in practice than to test. If you want to increase the effectiveness of learning, I highly recommend bet I bet you know about this, but I highly recommend breaking up the dry theory with such small interactive tasks. Let's take a look at the comparison. So on the right, we can see a question type called drag and drop question that was created in iSpring. And this is a great question type. Then you need to create the out of the box task and increase engagement and learning. And you can drag and drop it not only the text, but also pictures and shapes. So your creativity is almost unlimited here. Also, it is possible to provide feedback in the quiz questions. This will help reduce the distance between the teacher or mentor and the learner. For every question and every answer, you can add individual feedback. You can use also add additional theory, video, audio to the feedback, as well as the question itself. And if the answer is wrong, the learner can retake the material before the next attempt. Okay, now let's move on to some summary of what we discussed in course number 5. So create a glossary if you have many terms in the course. You can use iSpring to do that, or you can definitely just create it in PowerPoint. Supplement the theoretical information with a practical task to increase the effectiveness of your learning. Use drag and drop question type to create an out of the box task and create engagement in learning. Provide feedback in the quiz, reduce the distance between the teacher and the learner. Okay, so since our webinar is only 1 hour long, it's not possible to cover all the design rules and life hacks on how to enhance your courses, but don't worry, in our free instructional designer notebook, we included all the ins and outs of creating engaging learning experience from idea theories to step-by-step instructions. Download this collection of interactive guides, checklists, and tips on instructional design and e-learning to streamline your course offering. So you can scan the QR code on the slide, and my colleague April will also send the link in the chat, I believe. But right now, I believe that it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions, so we can move there.
Hey, so we are right on time. So if anyone's got any questions, now is the time to get them in nice and quick. Loads of really positive comments throughout, though. Kara's just joined us in here to say she knows what Tiggy says about engagement is in the mind, not the mouse. The way slides are redesigned helps because the content is more broken down. Absolutely. And brilliant. There's a link to the free guide in the chat there as well. Well, Anna, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Our next session starts at 12 o'clock and it is with. It's with Andrew and transforming leadership development. So a bit of a change of topic, but an interesting one coming up. Thank you again. Thank you everyone in the audience, and we shall see you in the next session.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And thank you, Tom, so much for having me and for doing this. That's amazing. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.